I invite my gentleman, great orator, Senator Mushahid Hussain, Chairman Joint Parliamentary Committee on CPEC, and President Pakistan-China Institute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Ni hao to the Chinese friends, and good morning. In the name of the Almighty, the Lord of all mankind. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The distinguished speakers on the podium, starting with a very brilliant speech, as was expected by Dr. Ataur Rahman Saab, the one man who has been instrumental in bringing about an educational revolution in Pakistan. Thank you, sir. Mr. Muhammad Zubair, I knew his father, General Omar, very well, because he was one of the few thinking generals and a democratic general also. So well done. And Mr. Asfar Asan and Sarmad Ali, this good combination of media and business, and these are people with ideas and action. I compliment them. I would also like to recognize Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa Al-Dosari from Bahrain. I've been to Bahrain several times. Bahrain has what I call a lot of current in it. I mean electric current, because it is not a dead place like other places. It is a thriving democracy. There's pluralism, both politically and culturally, and it's always a pleasure to be in your country, sir. And also, I would like to recognize our CEOs from Telenor, from PTCL, from Zong. Mr. Wang Zihai is here, Nestle is here. So it's a very great pleasure and privilege for me to come here from Islamabad to speak on the future. And my first, encounter with imagination was when I was a student in America. And I went to Disney World. And Disney World and Disneyland. Disneyland is in California and Disney World is in Florida. In both, there's one thing similar. There are, of course, a lot of joy rides, a lot of fun places, but there's a hall which fascinated me, a huge structure, as big as this hotel. It was called imagination. Just one word, imagination. And then I realized that the power of imagination, how imagination can turn around, because there are no limits to human imagination. What you said about truth and reality. And I think imagination, if it is reinforced by two factors, inspiration given by good quality leadership and innovation through scientists like you, I think that can make a difference. And I think if you talk of imagining the future, you will realize that it is a very, very difficult exercise. And only my friend and brother, Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa Al-Dosari, has the courage to imagine that so much. Because if on 7th of November, you had asked 99% of pollsters, pundits, and press in America, what is the future on 8th of November? They would have said, not Trump, Hillary Clinton. So they were so wrong. So it's not easy. So I welcome from Canada, I believe the Canadians are also here, the good North Americans, because they elected Justin Trudeau. And Trudeau is a good man. And I also welcome our friends from China. I'll focus on three contexts. Number one, how did the founding fathers of Pakistan, the creators of Pakistan, those who have given us this gift of a free motherland, how they imagined the future 60, 70 years ago? The second context would be the geopolitical context which defines what we are discussing. And third is what is the way forward in terms of CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, because I am the chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and moreover, I'm a student of China. I went to China in my teens as a young teenager, college student in the 35 years ago, and China was seen to be backward and poor, and I've seen the transformation of China during my 60-plus visits since then. The Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, one of the greatest leaders of mankind in the 20th century, he gave his first interview after independence to an American reporter in Life magazine. Life was a very famous magazine then. And there was a lady reporter called Margaret Bork White. She came and interviewed the Qaid. And this interview is published as a cover story in Life magazine in January 1948. And you can find it in the Google. He was asked by her, she said, what is the future of Pakistan? Pakistan does not exist on the map. It just came into existence a few weeks or months ago. Pakistan has no resources. Pakistan has a refugee problem. There was an influx of people, 10 million people transferred from both sides. Pakistan is at war on Kashmir. You have no army bureaucracy. And this is what the Qaid-e-Azam told her. And I would like to quote verbatim from his interview. He said to Margaret White, and it's amazing this comment, he said, I quote, Pakistan is the pivot of the world. Pakistan दुनिया का महवर है, सतून है, pivot of the world, placed on the frontier around which the future politics of the world will revolve. कि जहां हमारा क़याम है, आप देखें कायद-ए-आज़म का vision. Today that is turning out to be true. Our role in this region, the most strategic part of the world, and what role we are playing, the pivot of the world. This is the Qaid. Qaid-e-Millat Liaquat Ali Khan goes to America in 1950 with his wife Begum Rana Liaquat Ali Khan for a 23-day state visit. And he makes speeches. And the theme of his speeches, which are published in book form, the title is Pakistan, the Heart of Asia. Pakistan, the Heart of Asia. The vision of Liaquat Ali Khan in 1950. He's talking to the American audience, and he's talking of Pakistan's place, Pakistan's role, Pakistan's location in Asia, the heart of Asia. Then Allama Muhammad Iqbal, the great philosopher, the guru, the guide, who belongs to humanity but who is from Lahore originally. In 1932, and already Sarmad Ali has pointed that out, when he talked of Mashriq se ubarte hue suraj ko dekh, see the sun rising from the east, he predicted the resurgence of Asia. And for our Chinese friends, the same year he wrote a very famous couplet. गिरा ख्वाब चीनी संभलने लगे, हिमालय के चश्मे उबलने लगे, गया दौर सरमायादारी गया, तमाशा दिखा के मदारी गया. The springs of hope are rising from the Himalayas. And Himalayas, Karakoram, Hindu Kush are this tri-mountain area which unites China and Pakistan geographically. And the great Chinese nation is rising from slumber. 1933. 16 years before the Chinese Revolution led by Chairman Mao Zedong in 1949. So this was the vision of our founding fathers. They saw Pakistan as a great country placed in a most strategic part of the world, playing a pivotal role, which inshallah, the time for that has come now in the 21st century. And we are now embarking on that role. The second context I'd like to point out is the geopolitical context. Because whenever we talk of a role, a future, we have to see what is the context. Uska pas manzar kya hai? Kis garai mein baat karte hain? The first important thing which has been already alluded to by Asfar, Ahsan, and Sarmad also, I think it's great minds thinking alike. The balance of economic and political power is shifting, ladies and gentlemen, from the west to the east. The west, Europe, United States are in decline now. And you have seen this decline evident in the most, I've lived 3 years in America and I worked in the American Congress. I was in Washington, D.C., in the School of Foreign Service in Georgetown University where I got my master's. I've never seen a more low-level a more degenerated political debate. I think our talk shows, Zubair Sahab, are more superior to the American debates which we had, and the level, the quality. So that shows the decline. And even the Great Britain is now becoming puny England now with this Brexit. So this is one reality. The balance of economic power, political power, and I would also say cultural power is shifting. The second has already been mentioned also. The 21st century, inshallah, is the Asian century. This is a resurgence of Asia, the rise of China, which we welcome. Our dearest friend, our neighbor. China's rise is a source of strength, source of stability for Pakistan and other countries in Asia. And the third one, where we are located, I see this emergence of what we called, and I mentioned this during my recent visit to Washington. I went as the special envoy of the Prime Minister of Pakistan on Kashmir, and I had meetings in the White House, in the State Department, think tanks, about 25 interactions in 1 week in Washington, D.C. And I mentioned that. I said this region is changing. We are no longer talking of South Asia alone or the South Asian subcontinent of Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and the Maldives. It is a greater South Asia, woven together by ports and pipelines, roads and rail links, driven by economy, energy, which includes China, which includes Myanmar, which includes Iran, which includes Afghanistan, which includes Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman. That is this region. A geo-economic entity that is emerging and in which the CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is the key. I will give you two quotes, one from China, one from America, about, then you can see the importance of what I'm talking about CPEC. The Chinese foreign minister came to Pakistan last year, Mr. Wang Yi, on 8th of December 2015 in his speech in Islamabad, in the Heart of Asia conference. He said that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is the biggest single comprehensive agreement between any two countries in the history of international relations. 15 years, $46 billion for starters. Above any person, above any party, above any province, a strategic national project linking the two countries and broadening its base. The second quote I would like to mention is by the American writer Robert Kaplan, K-A-P-L-A-N, very famous. He's written books on geography. He links geography with geopolitics. He came to Gwadar and he wrote about Gwadar in May 2009 in the Atlantic Monthly magazine. Please note, May 2009, the article by Robert Kaplan in the Atlantic. Just Google it, you'll find it. What did he say about Gwadar? This is before CPEC. The port was complete, it was not functional. He said, and I quote, he says, when I look at past great place names like Carthage, like Troy, like Samarkand, like Angkor Wat is in Cambodia, old civilization. Or I look at the present great place names like Dubai, like Singapore, like Beijing, like Washington, then Gwadar qualifies as a great place name of the future. Robert Kaplan, May 2009. And what does he say in that article? He says, Gwadar has the potential to be the hub of a new Silk Road, both land and sea. And Gwadar, he says, and I quote again, has the potential to be the Rotterdam of the Arabian Sea. Rotterdam is the big port of Holland. The the Rotterdam of the Arabian Sea, linking the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean, with such places as Urumqi, Kashgar, Tashkent, Samarkand, Bukhara, Astana, Almaty, Bishkek, Ashkabad. These great places of Central Asia which are landlocked. And the shortest route to the warm waters of the Indian Ocean is via Pakistan through this port of Gwadar. And last week there was a historic development. The first convoy came from Kashgar and it has reached Gwadar. And the first exports are going to start. Containers going to Dubai, Sri Lanka, and so forth. What is CPEC all about? The Chinese President Xi Jinping, whom I had the privilege of meeting, and also you mentioned, he was kind enough and he gave, Dr. Ataur and myself were decorated with the highest award, the Friendship Award of the 5 Principles of Peaceful Coexistence. It's a great honor for Pakistan and shows our friendship. He made 2 important speeches in 2013. September 2013, he went to the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana, at the Nazarbayev University. He said that we should revive the Silk Road economic belt, the traditional ancient Silk Road, 2,000-year-old, which went Shar-e-Resham jo kehte the, starting from Xi'an, going to Central Asia, parts of Pakistan, going on to Middle East, Arab world, and then reaching Europe. What Marco Polo did. And then in November 2013, he made a speech in Indonesia. He talked of the maritime Silk Road, linking ports, Shanghai or Sihanoukville or Singapore or Hambantota in Sri Lanka or Gwadar, Chabahar, even Suez Canal and other places. So we are talking of a land route, a maritime route. And when you talk of that, he talked of this in the context of what he called one belt, the Silk Road economic belt, and one road, the maritime Silk Road. And it covers 65 countries of Asia, Africa, Middle East, Europe. And I was 2 months ago in Warsaw, in Poland, and Xi Jinping was also there, and I was with the Chinese Railways Minister in a panel. He said in 2015, 865 trains from China carrying cargo went to Europe. And 215 trains came from Europe to China. This is the level of connectivity. So you see, there are 65 countries in this initiative of One Belt, One Road of President Xi Jinping. And only one country is there where both the Silk Road economic belt, the land route, and the maritime Silk Road meet, converge, have confluence. Pakistan through Gwadar. That is the key. So China has different corridors, and we must thank the Chinese leadership, because when we talk of imagination, I said inspiration, leadership, quality of leadership is key. Dr. Tauraman talked of Singapore. It is Lee Kuan Yew who made the difference. The Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah who made the difference. Without Qaid, there would have been no Pakistan. In China, after Chairman Mao, it was Deng Xiaoping, the great leader of China. And I've just finished reading a book written by his daughter, Deng Rong, my father Deng Xiaoping. He was removed 3 times. Because there was a power struggle in China and the Cultural Revolution. So he was picked up, he was removed, arrested, sent to prison, then worked as a camp, then came back, then removed, went back. Then again he came back. Very short-statured and very dynamic. Dabang jaise kehte hain wo aadmi tha. He reminds me of the saying of Richard Nixon. He said, "You do not lose when you are defeated. You lose when you quit." He never quit. That is the key thing. And in fact, our Chinese friends are here. Let me tell you a little joke of Deng Xiaoping. This joke is about 3 old political prisoners in Beijing. They are discussing among themselves. One old man asked the other, "Why are you in jail?" He said, "I am against Deng Xiaoping." The second man says, "Why are you in jail?" He said, "I am for Deng Xiaoping." The third man asked, "Why are you in jail?" He said, "I am Deng Xiaoping." So, this is how it was. But this shows resilience. Jaan honi chahiye. Don't give up. The Qaid never gave up. He went in exile. People thought he's finished. He was living in London. He had no army. Zubair sahab aur hum siyasat mein hain. If you want to know politics, kya banega politics mein? आपके साथ establishment है, आपके साथ अमेरिका है, आपके साथ bank balance है. Qaid did not have an army. He did not have ISI. He did not have the atom bomb. He did not have the British with him. The British were with Nehru and the Congress. But he had vision, character of leadership, conviction, leadership qualities. Even when he spoke in English, people believed what he said. That is the thing. That is the key thing. So that is important. Quality of leadership makes the whole difference. In China, in Singapore, in Pakistan. So CPEC has 4 components. Energy. For the first time, we are talking of renewable energy in Pakistan. All our energy mix, there was no energy mix in Pakistan. Imported oil, imported. Because there are these mafias in Islamabad, because where they make money through these commissions. And they won't allow renewable energy, solar or wind, first time. Thar coal. We have been dreaming of Thar coal for the last 30 years. The 5th biggest reserves we have had. I took my committee 2 months ago to Thar. By the grace of God, the Thar coal is operational. We are mining also, and we'll be producing electricity from that. These are dreams come true. We never thought of that. What China has done is, as a best friend, they've given a vote of confidence in the future of Pakistan. When people were saying Pakistan is a terrorist infested area, Pakistan is a failing state, Pakistan has no future, China has given, as the world's fastest growing economy, as the world's 2nd biggest economy, a vote of confidence. एक एतमाद का word है कि पाकिस्तान का future है, and we are with Pakistan. And that is a very key thing. So we are thankful to our Chinese friends. The third area, there's energy, there's infrastructure, roads and railway links. Look at the railway project we are planning now. From Karachi to Torkham, dualization, upgradation, $8.5 billion. It will be a revolution. And then Torkham will link up with Afghanistan also, because Kabul is 265 kilometers from Islamabad. Third is Gwadar Port, which has already been operational now, as I said. Great news for us. And you heard what Kaplan had said to say. The Gwadar International Airport is going to be built, where A380 can land, inshallah, the next 3 years. And also the East Bay Expressway linking Gwadar Port with railway. And the fourth is special economic zones, industrial parks. The first one has been earmarked in Gwadar, 2,400 acres. It will be run by the Chinese company, Chinese Overseas Port Holdings Limited. We have a commercial lease agreement with China that they will run the port for the next 43 years. And that has been agreed upon. And every province, plus Gilgit-Baltistan, will give a special economic zone proposal for that. So that is how this is going. This is actually a game changer. And when I run my committee, I was recently in China, I told the Chinese leadership, we have 3 principles: consensus after consultation, transparency, no hanky-panky, everything has to be in public. And the third one is inclusive development. By inclusive development, I mean development of those areas which are relatively backward or less developed, like Balochistan, Gilgit-Baltistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, even Fatah, Azad Kashmir. That has to be there. So the fruits of development reach out to all segments of society, all parts of Pakistan. Finally, a word about the future. The CPEC is not just about China and Pakistan. It's about the region. Afghanistan wants to come in, Iran wants to come in, Turkey wants to come in. Last week, the Egyptian ambassador called on me and he said, we want to be part of that. A delegation wants to come because Suez Canal is there. So it's something which is about the region, and it's very important to come. The second thing is the Iran-Pakistan pipeline. I was in Washington. I told our Indian friends, I met the Indian media also. I said, we invite Mr. Narendra Modi. The problem with India is, we said, India is a big country with a small heart. Mr. Modi should behave like a leader of a big country. Don't try to bully and browbeat Pakistan, because that's not going to happen. You tried in Nepal, you failed. You tried in Sri Lanka, you failed. That won't happen, because size does not equal strength. I said, if that was the case, then America would have conquered Cuba 50 years ago. They could not. They have to make peace with the Castro brothers. So it's important. I said, we invite you to rejoin the Iran-Pakistan-India pipeline. Make it an IPI. We will have a strategic stake in India's development. They'll have a strategic stake in Pakistan's development. And finally, the future for regional cooperation is not SARC. Mr. Modi has presiding over the slow motion death of SARC by cancelling the summit. The future is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. That is the future, because that links up with Greater South Asia, building a better tomorrow for 40% of the world's population which is living here, a better tomorrow where there's progress, prosperity, and peace, a future without any overlords, and a future without any underdogs. Thank you very much to the Nutshell Forum for this initiative, and we welcome that. And I hope that you can come to Islamabad also for that. Thank you.